homeward bound in the
This
cup
is the
now
finish of the
without
1979 Melbourne Cup. To study a horse by commencing with his death seems strange, until you know the horse is Dulcify. For the death of this horse stopped a nation that had stopped to watch the Cup.
On the turn now, 500 metres left to go in the Cup. Sarfraz is joined by Halberg. Red Nose putting its way into it now. They're followed then back behind them by Salamander. And down the outside running on fairly is Worry Symbol. Dulcify's broken down in the Cup. Dulcify's broken down. 300 metres left to go. Here's a real charge now. Halberg just in front of Red Nose. Salamander getting through near the inside and Hyperno out wider. There's 5 in line.
Dulcify was one of those horses you appreciate more in retrospect. 2 examples. His great win in the Australian Cup was underestimated at the time because he started at 80 to 1 and defeated the great horse Manicato. More was said of his shock defeat than of Dulcify's great performance to come back from near death on the Nullarbor Plain.
400 out and Willits hasn't let go and Manicato's 2 in front. Now he goes for 3 in front from Turf Ruler. Lemaire's gone. Then Double Century, Lloyd Boyd, Dulcify trying to get out from Salamander, Family of Man. With 200 to go, Willits waving the whip at Manicato. The champion 3-year-old's well clear, but Family of Man's flying down the outside. Manicato stopping and Dulcify will beat them. Dulcify gets the split and gets up to beat Manicato. 3rd Family of Man, 4th Stormy Rex.
Equally, his great win in the AJC Derby was diminished by the fact that he won on protest from Double Century.
Dulcify have raced to the lead at the 200 and they've come away. Double Century on the inside. Dulcify's almost drawn level with him there, clear of Cafe and Brandy's different career. There's nothing between them. Double Century's carrying Dulcify right off the course. Double Century, the leader, will win the Derby, but there'll be almost certainly a protest. Double Century a length to Dulcify, 5 lengths away, 3rd, maybe March to Glory.
Double Century went on to win the Sydney Cup, and this was seen by some as proof that he should have retained the Derby, whereas the subsequent feats of Dulcify did equally as much, if not more, to justify his being awarded the race. In fact, it was not till his win in the W.S. Cox Plate at Moonee Valley that the public fully appreciated the great champion they were shortly to lose.
One of the reasons I went forward when I did was Shivari was in a pocket there where there seemed there's no way out, and I was going particularly well, so I let him throw. My only concern was that if he didn't win, I was in pretty deep trouble.
Oh, Dulcify let go, has raced to the lead. Shivery's getting off the fence, but Dulcify's going to have a big lead on it. At the 400, Dulcify shot away 2.5 lengths, imposing. Then Shivery under the whip from Arbor Shane and Gypsy Kingdom. But Dulcify well clear. Brent Thompson going for his 4th Cox Plate, and he's got it. He's home, Dulcify. He's 6 lengths in front of Shivery and then Arbor Shane imposing, stopping. Dulcify's won by a minute, and that's the way he might win the Melbourne Cup. Dulcify by 6 lengths to Shivery.
I remember Jack Purtell saying to me afterwards, that's the best win I've ever seen in the Cox Plate. And he was a very experienced, rational race watcher. And I think it was easily the best win I've seen in the race. Because they were all high-class horses, and he showed that brilliant, electrifying finish that he had, and showed that he was right on top of it all.
So let's go back to the beginning when Colin Hayes purchased this youngster by DC's from Sweet Candy for only $3,250.
Well, he was a lovely horse to follow to start with, and I think he was undervalued because he was parrot-mouthed, but I intended to geld him, and with the parrot-mouth they're always concerned if you intend to breed from them, because it's often an inherent thing. So, and he'd never be short of a feed with us, so I felt that with his pedigree, he was extremely cheap. He always had that lovely style and rhythm, and we took him away from home to trial him, and he got down in the float. So we couldn't trial him, brought him home and had to run him in a race without a trial on a very heavy track in which he'd never galloped on. And he drew the extreme outside, so consequently he was 300 to 1 and duly won.
After another win and a second to Regal Jester in the South Australian Derby, he was sent to Melbourne for the Victoria Derby. After a third at Moonee Valley, he did this in the Blue Ribbon Classic.
Into the straight they race now, and Justice Steele came out and whacked the favourite Caraman, but Caraman and Halberg immediately swept past it to take the lead. Behind them, Turf Ruler, and then with Trust and Bowl Passer. It's Howburk and Caraman together at the 300 from Justice Steele. Turf Ruler coming at them. Higgins goes for the whip. Caraman takes the lead. He draws a length in front, and Dulcify is going to be the danger. It's Caraman in front with Dulcify out wide, eating up the ground near the line. Dulcify is going to be too strong, races to Caraman, and the Colin Hayes train, Dulcify, wins the Derby, a length and a quarter to Caraman.
Following the Derby, Dulcify headed to Western Australia, and after an unsuccessful try at the Western Australian Derby on Boxing Day 1978, his return trip for a spell proved to be a traumatic experience.
He got very claustrophobic and hated aeroplanes, and so we decided we'd bring him home by road. And Terry Ryan was looking after him, who's now training in Sydney, and Terry's a very sound, sensible person who's a very good horseman. And coming home, the float broke down, so he was in 40-degree heat in a nullarbor, and Terry hitched a ride into nearest town, borrowed a utility and trailer and float, two-horse float, came back, picked him up and took him into a place called Sejuna and stood him in the sea and splashed water over him until the float could get going and come and pick him up. And then that horse, he travelled him home, and we rested him till the autumn, and he came back a champion.
After his wins in the Australian Cup and the AJC Derby in the autumn of 1979, Dulcify began his spring successes of that year in the weight-for-age Craigley Stakes at Flemington.
Nicolaus drew away by 2 lengths to Luck Runa now. Arbrashane getting out to go out after it. Marjolio looking for a run on the fence from Valley of Georgia. Superscope hanging. Mr. Sobar trying to get out. Then Dulcify being eased to the outside, and Double Century fourth last with a wall of horses in front of him. Argios Nicolaus led into the straight without after it. Dulcify with a big run out wide. So too is Arbrashane, and Valley of Georgia and Marjolio can't get out, and now Double Century getting out with Mr. Sobar. Dulcify took the lead at the 200 in second placing. Arbrashane under the whip. Worry Symbol trying to get up on the rails, and Valley of Georgia battling on with Double Century, can't win. Dulcify just the leader near the line from Arbrashane, and Dulcify's won it. Won by about a length. Second placing Arbrashane, Valley of Georgia third.
After a third in the Underwood to Valley of Georgia, it was back to Flemington where he was unbeaten.
Round the turn, How Fast hanging, and Valley of Georgia got the run to go up and hit the front. And Valley of Georgia took the lead from How Fast and Sarfraz. Caraman behind them with Howburk, and they're 4 or 5 lengths to Gondolier. Dulcify keeps running into dead ends, and then Brioche Castle. Valley of Georgia tackled again by How Fast at the 200 from Howburk and Caraman. Dulcify getting out is coming home hard down the outside. Valley of Georgia and Caraman with Dulcify now coming at them strongly, and he swamped them in a stride. Caraman was in front, but Dulcify got checked and then went straight past it, and he can't get beaten at Flemington, Dulcify. He's won by about 2 lengths
That
to
race
Caraman
set him up for his legendary Cox Plate win, and then it was the traditional lead-up to the Melbourne Cup, the LKS McKinnon Stakes on Derby Day. It was hoped that Dulcify would be able to win without being put under great pressure. It didn't quite work out that way.
Into the straight, 4:50 to go. Minuetto in front, but immediately Dulcify's gone up to second placing. Chivalry's making its run on the outside. It's Minuetto in front. Dulcify and Chivalry come at it together. We'll soon know who's good. Chivalry's run past Dulcify, got a neck in front of it. Thompson went for the whip. Chivalry a neck in front of Dulcify, and then Minuetto battling on. Dulcify coming again, has drawn level with Chivalry. It's Dulcify and Chivalry together. Dulcify ahead in front. Now a half neck. Dulcify just in front, and Dulcify's won it. A half neck to Chivalry, a length and a half to Minuetto.
After 21 starts, 10 wins, 3 seconds and 2/3 for a total of $568,775, Dulcify came to the Melbourne Cup of 1979.
I don't know really what happened. I said at the time that I felt that when the pace slackened about the 1600 metres that he was galloped on behind, and there was High Perno behind him. Because he did end up with a lot of marks over his back legs, but you know, I mean, that's history, and whether that happened, no one could be really certain, you know. But he did get galloped on from behind. But it just goes to show the sort of heart that the horse had, because it took me to the top of the straight to actually pull him up in order that I could get off him. So he went some 800 metres on 3 legs. So he must have had a giant heart to carry him that far, because 800 metres on 3 legs is a long way.
And Brent thought that he was a certainty in it, and he was travelling beautifully when the accident happened. And I suppose it's fair to say that was my saddest moment in racing, when he was killed.
He's home, Dulcify. He's 6 lengths in front of Chivalry, and then after a Shane imposing stopping. Dulcify's won by a minute, and that's the way he might win the Melbourne Cup.